Hi, in this particular lecture, we are going to talk about different functions of Final Cut Pro. To start with, we are going to deal with how to capture material from the cassette to the hard disk. We are going to open Final Cut Pro to see how it works. This is Final Cut Pro and I have just opened the software. Before proceeding, we should look into the system settings. Here, we should check what is my destination folder. Remember, Final Cut Pro is a user software. The difference between a user software and a studio software is that this is meant to be used by one editor. In case of a studio software, softwares can be used by multiple editors where they do not interfere between projects. In this case, you should see that the folder here is the folder that I want my material to go to. If this is not, say here I have said it's EMMRC folder. If I do not have this set here, I should click on set and go to the folder EMMRC and choose this. If I don't do this, my captured files will go to some other folder which I cannot trace later. All the other folders should also be set to the same folder. This is the amount of disk that I am left with. So I will only be able to capture till this amount of space. If I need more space, I can carry on with adding more hard drives. In case of DV, you can capture almost an hour's material within 12 GB. I click on OK and my project is ready. Before I log and capture, I should save this project. And as I told you in the previous lectures that to save a project, you at least need to do something with the project. So I just drag a clip and this is just a black video. Now I have done something in the project and I can save it. I click on File and I save project. I name it as EMMRC and I save this within the same folder. I already had that project, so I replace. The next step would be to do an easy setup. The easy setup is basically a template which lets me configure my software according to the devices that I have connected the software with. Here, my laptop is connected to a DV camera. So I go to Final Cut, I click on Easy Setup. As soon as I click on Easy Setup, this gives me a set of templates. I am working on the PAL format and I am working on DVPAL Firewire Basic. I have other options which will change with my device. I'll click on Firewire Basic. But what is Firewire? Firewire is a connection protocol between your device, that is a computer in this case, and the VTR. Firewire is a special kind of a cable and a connection protocol which carry almost 400 Mbits of data both ways. (1394B) is Firewire 2, which is capable of carrying almost 800 Mbits per second. So it's huge amount of data. This data cable can carry the video signal, which is digital in nature, and also the remote controls. That is, I'll be able to control my device, which is a camera in this case, with the software, which is Final Cut Pro. This is called the remote control. So I do a setup and the computer is ready to capture and control the device, which is the camera in this case. I click on Log and Capture, the shortcut being Command 8. As soon as I click on Log and Capture, this opens a new window for me. This is the Log and Capture tool. I should check whether it's written VTR OK or not. If it's VTR OK, it means that my device is connected properly with the software. Now I can control the VTR, that is the camera in this case, with these buttons here. I click on play and it will start playing. I don't have this video on this computer. I am playing back from the VTR, which is the camera. Now I want to capture a particular portion from this particular tape. So what I do is I do a logging. Logging is selecting and marking portions of your raw source. So first, under the reel, I name the tape. Say the tape name is tape 002. Okay, you should name these tapes because later if you want to refer to what you have shot and what you have dumped, you can refer to these names. And under description, I can type, say, lecture 03, if this is lecture 3. Okay, this will be the name of your clip and this will come onto your browser as lecture 3, whatever you are capturing. I do not want to capture the entire footage, so let me select a portion. This is a slider with which you can rewind and forward the clip. This is a stop button and this is the play button. Say for example, I want to capture this clip from this point onwards. So I go to the in point. This is the in point selector. This part is called the in point selector and I mark in. I mark in with this button. As soon as I mark in, there is a number that comes here. This is called a time code. Let me tell you what a time code is all about. When you play a cassette, you will see there are numbers coming in. The numbers generally denote hours, minutes, seconds and frames. You must have watched on your DVD player that there is a counter that is rolling when you are playing the DVD player. That is not a time code, but that is showing you the time. That is, my DVD is 5 minutes long, so the DVD will play for 5 minutes and it will show 0500. Time code is a particular number assigned to a particular frame on the video tape. So, the advantage of having a time code is that I can identify each and every frame by a number. So, a cassette which starts at 00000000, which means 0 hours, 0 minutes, 0 seconds and 0 frames. And it will roll for say 1 hour. So, my time code will end at 01, 00, 00 and 00. The last 2 digits are not milliseconds, they are frames. In case of PAL, since we have 25 frames, it will end at 24. The next number would be 00, since we are considering the first frame as 00 and not 01. In case of NTSC, since we are working on a 30 frame rate pattern, the time code will end at 29. The last number would be 00 again. So, if you see that it's ending at 24 and the next number is 00, you can make out that it's a PAL formatted cassette. Now let's come back to the log and capture tool. So this is a particular number which identifies the frame. This is the number that identifies the frame. So my clip will start at 00012824. Okay. Now I play the clip. And I want to capture, say, a minute of this clip. I have these 2 people and this is my person. Okay, I want to capture till this point. I will go and mark out here. You can see this window. I will mark out here. As soon as I mark out, see there is the number that comes in which says 00014420, which is higher than the in point, which means that I am capturing from 128 to 144. I can log this clip. Logging this clip is I'm just taking a note that I'll have to dump this material in future. So I click on log clip and this window appears. This is going to be the name of the clip, and if I want, I can have a log note. So I click on OK. As soon as I do it, here you will get a clip which is marked with a red slash. This means that I do not have this material on my hard disk, but I have managed to log it. So if I double click on this, this will give me an offline file. It will say it's media offline. And the name of the clip is lecture 3. I'll only get this clip if I capture the material. Now how to capture this? I right click and I go to batch capture. As soon as I click on batch capture, this will again open the log and capture tool for me. I can change the resolution if I want to, but here I am dumping the material as DVPAL. So I click on OK. If you look carefully, this is the available space on my hard disk, and this is the space I need for dumping this particular section of the clip. I click on OK, and the tape is ready on the device, and I click on continue. This will start dumping the material from the cassette. Remember, since I have given the TC mark, it will trace back to the TC, identify that frame, and then start capturing. Now the capture is over and I click on finished. Once I do it, see, now the red mark is gone, which means that this is online. If I click on this, see, this material is there on my hard disk. Now let's go back to the folder structure. I minimize this and I open the EMMRC folder. Under EMMRC, I told you that there will be a folder called Capture Scratch. Under Capture Scratch, I'll have this folder called EMMRC. This folder is named according to the project that I have. And this is the file that you have captured. This is the file. If I can play it from here, I'll see this is the same file that I captured. So this is where the files are stored. Let us open the log and capture tool once more. I go to File and I click on Log and Capture. Now, I showed you how to log clips one after the other, and you logged, say, you logged 10 clips together and you batch captured the entire set of 10 clips together. The tape will go to the time codes which I have marked and will dump the clips accordingly. Now what if I want to dump the material as I see it? Now I open the log and capture tool and I click on play. As it is playing, say I want to capture this clip here. Immediately I will click on capture now. If I click on capture now, it will start capturing on the fly. Okay, now if I want to stop the capture, I will press escape. As soon as I press escape, it will stop capturing. Now if I go back to the bin, I'll see there's a new clip here called lecture 4. Remember, the clip names will come according to the numbers. If I have named the previous clip as 001, the next clip will automatically be 002. So make sure that the numbers that you give to your clips are perfect and you can identify those clips with those numbers. Now, during log and capturing, if I want to get all these material onto a particular folder, I can do that by setting the logging bin. For that, I'll come out of this log and capture tool and I'll create a new folder or a new bin on the browser, and I name it according to the name that I want, day 002. Okay, and this is the name of the folder. I select the folder and I right click and I click on set logging bin. If I do it, now if I open the login capture tool, whatever I capture will come inside this folder. Now we have seen how to dump the cassette from the VTR to the computer. But nowadays, in most cases, you do not use a DV camera or a DV cassette. Now you are more familiar with DSLR cameras, and newer models of cameras are coming up with chip-based recording. In that case, you won't get a cassette. What you will get is a chip which will have the data in it. But there is a method with which you can dump it. As I told you earlier, that codec that these DSLR cameras use are not meant for editing. They are meant for distribution, and hence they are much lighter in size. You can record on a 32 GB chip almost 2 to 3 hours of material. But when you want to edit that material, that would be a problem. Your machine will get stuck at one point and you won't be able to edit further. In that case, you need to transcode the material onto a format or onto a codec-based file which is properly editable. Now, let's see how to deal with a material where I have it on a chip. I'll go to File and I will click on Log and Transfer. Here I won't click on Log and Capture, I'll click on Log and Transfer tool. Obviously, when you have done your shooting, you have done it in multiple cards. So you dump the entire content. Remember, you have to dump the entire content of the card onto your hard disk. If you think that there are folders which are not necessary for your film, you should not leave those folders. Those folders contain metadata or the data that is used for identifying those files, which are very essential. So you copy the entire folder from the chip to your hard disk. Once you have done it, you open the Log and Transfer tool and click on Add Volume. Here I have captured or I have transferred from the chip to this folder. This is a particular date, and under this I have these folders which are coming straight from the card. Under this, if you go to the folders, you will see that there are still images and there are MOV files. I click on this and I click on Open. Here you will get the list of files that you have. This will have a particular name and media start number and media end duration and media end number. These are all your time codes. But before this, you will need to download the codec that is given by this particular make and model of the camera that you are using. Say for example, Canon 5D is a very popular movie camera nowadays, which is basically a DSLR. For that, if you just open on FCP, you will get an error message showing that the media is not supported by the software. For this, what you need to do is you have to go to the company's website and download the FCP plugin. If you download that plugin and install that particular plugin onto your computer, you will be able to open the file the way I did it here. Now let's come back to the Log and Transfer tool. Here you have a list of clips that are available on the chip. Now if I want a selective dump, I can select, or if I want an entire dump, I'll select the clips all together. But let's say I want to dump a particular clip. Say for example this one. For this, I'll select this and I'll click on Add Selection to Queue. If I click on Add Selection to Queue, this will immediately come to this window and it will start transcoding. I'll pause it for a while. Before this, remember the scratch disk that you have set. This file is going to go straight to the capture scratch that you have already selected. So if you want to capture this onto some other location, make sure that your scratch disks are set properly. Now, it's not that I can dump this material onto one particular codec. I can choose the codec according to my use. I click on this button here, this button, and I click on Preferences. If I go to Preferences, I will give the setting here. So since this is a 5D footage, this is a EOS movie, and the resolution that I have set already is Apple ProRes 422. I have other options here. Apple ProRes is a patented codec by Final Cut Pro, or Apple, so to say. Apple ProRes 4444, which is also called Apple ProRes 4x4, is the highest form of this codec, where the data is almost uncompressed. The next one is Apple ProRes 422HQ, which is a little less, but it's quite a good quality. You can actually master your film on Apple ProRes 422HQ without a problem. After that, we have a normal Apple ProRes 422, which is again a workable resolution and a workable codec. But under that, you have Proxy and LT. Proxy and LTs are not really meant for mastering, as in you can't make this as your final film. But proxies and LTs are very useful for dumping the material within a small amount of space. So if you are out of your hard disk space, so if you have a dearth of hard disk space, you can click on Apple Proxy or Apple LT, which will give you a very compressed kind of a file system, which you can upgrade later. What is meant by upgrading? Upgrading is when you are working with a low resolution file, which are not very good to watch, but your edited timeline, say from a rush of say 2 hours, you are going to edit this into a 10-minute film. So I do not need to dump the entire material at high resolution for the entire 2 hours. What I'll do is I'll finish the edit and I'll upgrade the material to Apple ProRes HQ, say for example, for that particular 10 minutes. So I save a lot of disk space by doing that. So in this case, I'm selecting Apple ProRes 422 and this will come here. And I click on OK. Now if I want to select any clip, and I click on Add Selection to Queue, and this will start dumping on my hard disk. That's all for this particular lecture, where we have learned how to log and capture from a DV tape, and we have also seen how to take material from a chip-based camera and a DSLR camera and log and transfer that material onto an editable codec. In the next lecture, we will see how to take materials onto the timeline and do an actual edit.